live.
All right, it's 6:02. We'll go ahead and call to order the September 18th meeting of the Waldari 5J Board of Education meeting to order. If you would take a moment to set your cell phones, rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Diagano, would you please call roll?
Monica Johnson. Here. Proctor will be arriving late. Nate Sasano.
Here.
Amy Musgrave. Here. Michael Will.
Here. Do you have any changes to the agenda this evening? I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Oh.
Hi.
We got a motion by Vice President Sassano, a second by Director Musgrave. Sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. No citizen comments. Okay. Let's move on to our staff and student celebrations and recognitions. Superintendent Nielsen.
Well, good evening, Wales board members. As we complete our last board meeting of September, it's hard to believe we're past mid-quarter and on our way to closing out the first quarter. Lots to celebrate. As we think back on just the last couple of weeks, we've had some interesting opportunities as staff. We had a staff PD day just Monday, where lots of different opportunities permeated the district, and teachers being able to do some work individually, some work collectively, choose some opportunities at different schools. But one of the ones that I'm pretty excited about is both this past Monday, but also over the past several weeks, our elementaries have all been able to engage in some of what I think you'll hear the team from MES talk about tonight in this work on teaming, and begin to engage the other buildings. And some of them, a couple of the other buildings kicked off some of the work yesterday, and I think in this building, they took it and started to enhance the work. And that's pretty exciting when you start to see traction around something that is consistent across our district. Is something we've been striving for, I think, in this district for several years, is how do we build consistency, and to see it around successful practices led by the building we're sitting in tonight is really pretty phenomenal and cool. I also want to just say thank you to our foundation. I think it's important when you think about a district to have community support and support outside of the school district. And the foundation here does great work to support students in this district. They give a ton of scholarships for a foundation our size. And they recently had their biggest fundraiser, which was supported by our communities. And so when you think about, they raised over $22,000 with the golf tournament, and allowed for several people in the room to play, including myself, which I enjoy that every year. But
What'd you shoot?
we shot 18 on 19.
Not we, you.
I can't say what I shot. It's team effort. It's the first time I played Mad Russian in like 30 years. So it was interesting to play out there, but it was fun. And again, a good time where you get to see the support that we have for what happens in the schools, right? For the opportunities that this district wants to provide for students. And so that's, I think, a call out for our foundation board and those that will participate in those kind of activities for us. We have started to have some community engagement sessions. We had a community engagement around the move to reopen, if you will, the middle school as an intermediate school. We had our first listening session here almost 2 weeks ago now. We've got another one coming up. We've got a couple coming up, one more here, and then a second one out at Pioneer Ridge. And then likely we'll follow all of those up with a survey to get a sense from people about how can we serve the needs as we make decisions, ultimately bring back to the board to help us finalize. But that first listening session went well. We got good questions, but I think questions that all made sense. Sometimes you start those things and you get questions I feel that you haven't thought of, and in this case, we felt pretty good about what we had. I had my first superintendent's advisory council meeting with students at the Roosevelt High School. I think I had 11 students that attended. And as I talked to you in the spring, it's a fantastic group. I think one we can continue to build up, but the feedback they gave Mr. Benson and I that day at Roosevelt was awesome. And I would say after meeting with that group a couple of times, I think it's advantageous for us as a board to see if we've got interest in having board members here, because as I listen to them, we have individuals that I think would both benefit from being here, but benefit us sitting next to us in this context. So when the board is ready, and if you're ready tonight to think about a thumbs up on applications, we don't have to do anything with applications, but applications would actually tell us about it and give us a sense of who is. I told you in the spring, I had one that actually came up to me to talk to me. That individual is clearly still ready, but there were others in the room as I talked about the possibility and that you, again, have passed the policy. There was excitement about that. There was excitement that day to talk to us about things they feel like could improve our district. But I think sitting here would give us another avenue for student voice. That brings me to, I spent the weekend at a superintendent conference, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, in San Antonio with about 150, 170 superintendents from around the country. A couple from our local districts, Thompson was there, St. Vrain was there. And it was great, but one of the things we heard a couple of different presentations was student voice, right? And one of them in their slides, voice, was a student on either end of the diocese in the board meeting. So, and it was one from Green Bay saying, if you haven't thought of having student voice it's amazing how different the conversation can go. Actually have student voice as part of your conversation. So as I thought about our talk, I thought I would just connect those dots for you. Long-range planning is something that the district has been talking about, that we really, as we kick into gear, we will start the formal long-range planning process October 8th at 5 o'clock. I think as we move forward, that process, the team we're getting won't have elected officials as part of the ongoing teamwork, but we would ask board members if you're able to come that night to come and help kick it off and thank you and help set the parameters and talk about what we're intending to do. So that kicks off October 8th at 5 p.m. And we've got a good team, I think, that we have invited and we think will support that work across the district. And that's probably a good place for me to stop tonight. Oh, wait, I have some members here today from track and field. I have Coach. Coach, you want to come up and talk us through the successful athletes we have in our presence tonight?
So first of all, this is a good spot. Thank you for approving a trip to Nike Nationals in Oregon. That was awesome. 2 of the athletes are here. That trip was awesome, mainly because they just had done NCAAs the week before we were there, and then we were there, and then U.S. Olympic trials the next week. So there was lots of just cool stuff that we got to experience. And while we were there, the U20 Nationals for U.S. track and field was also there. And we actually might have a couple that are competing in the U20 Nationals meet next year, no pressure. They're very close to that standard and could have some kids that are trying to make it to, is it Peru? It was in Peru for Worlds, which is a whole different subject if we get to that point. But anyway, for state track, it was awesome. The girls were outstanding. The boys were also great. Had an injury that kind of set our team points back But overall, the kids were amazing. We had 2 state champions. Braylon and Tegan are both here. So Braylon set school record, almost set the 4A or attempted the 4A state meet record for girls high jump, but won. And then Tegan also won pole vault with a 12.6. Is that your winning vault? Obviously, that was pretty exciting. Lots of medals, lots of podium placers across the board. It was really, really awesome for our team. Roosevelt was absolutely well represented up there. So I look to see. We did lose some key members, as you should when you have a good program, but situation. But we are very, very strong coming back on the female side, especially. So the boys look good too, but some of them are in football, cheer, all kinds of things that are going on. That's why we have kind of limited tonight, but we did have some. So if they want to, you guys want to.
Yeah, we'll have them come up and
Yeah.
tell us the event and what they placed. Come on up.
You too. You guys were there last I checked.
Can we, before you say anything, ladies, can we have our board come out? We'd like you to shake their hand too, or they'd like to shake your hand, maybe I should say it.
Thank you. We're so proud of all of you. Good job. Good job.
All right, who wants to lead us off?
You guys already shook your hand.
So, name your event or events. Tell us all the events you've done, how old, what grade you're in, and what events you'll do this year, and what you placed at state.
Okay, my name is Braylon Bailey. I'm a junior, 16 years old. Last year at state, I went for high jump, long jump, triple jump, and then the 4x1. And I placed first in the high jump, 6th in the triple jump, and 10th in long jump. And then our 4x1 got, I think.
Nice. And you got most of everybody back for the 4x1?
Yeah, all but one.
All but one.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, nice. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Will you walk down and let all the board members say congratulations?
Good job. Hi, my name is Tegan Olson. I'm a senior. I'm 17 years old, and I do pole vault, 100 hurdles, 100-meter dash, and long jump a little bit. I placed first in the pole vault, and I placed 9th in the hurdles, get to finals, and then I did not compete in the 100 at state or the long jump, but I did my previous year, and I placed 9th. What did I? Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, congratulations. Good one,
Thank
senior
you.
year.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you.
I'm Skylar Jones, and I'm a junior, and my freshman year I did high jump, and then I just started triple jump and long jump, and I made it to state for triple and just triple, and I made it to finals. I did not play, sadly, but so close. But that's everything.
All right.
That's it.
Well, congratulations on making it.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Bailey Killian. I do, sometimes they'll put me in random anyway. And I went to state for triple jump and I did not play, but I'm a sophomore and I'm 16.
Nice. I bet Coach would say they're not random at all. Congratulations. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, no, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Well, as a high jump alum from Roosevelt, I'm surprised we didn't celebrate with queso. And I want to put that out there.
Missed an opportunity.
Yes, we did.
All right. I'm trying to decide. Let's go ahead and I'm going to celebrate Palms now.
Yeah.
So Coach ready? Are you? Yeah,
Yeah.
Coach, will you come on up? You see in consent tonight, we have a trip request, but we asked Palms to come just to talk a little bit about the trip and celebrate. I think when you think about this team, they're asking for a trip to nationals, but they're also one of those teams that's been successful year after year. And so that is in and of itself a success. So will you talk a little bit about what they'll see in their consent agenda and
Yeah.
and what you're hoping to see this year?
Yes. So, I mean, we've been practicing. We don't stop. Our season is pretty full year round. So they were in spring, summer, training, learning choreography camps, all of that. So we have all of our choreography done to do during competition season, and then obviously our state routine, which we're hoping to take home our 4th title, which would be really great. Our preseason polls have us at 1st, so we hope to stay there. Nationals is just kind of the cherry on top to showcase that talent outside of Colorado and to represent not only our state but our small town of Johnstown at that level. And our seniors have actually prepared a little spiel. If it's okay if I invite them up here.
Please.
Hi, I'm Madeline. I'm a senior.
I'm Audrey and I'm a senior. I'm Ellie and I'm a senior.
And then, I'm not really good at speeches, so I have it written down. But our first year going to nationals, we danced under the castle, and your castle is like your biggest goal. Like that's like, you made it basically. And we made it we did it for semifinals, and then into our second year, so last year, our biggest goal was dancing under the castle again, but our whole team got really sick, so we couldn't dance at our full potential. So going again this year, we're gonna be here and we're gonna make it.
For the past 2 years going to nationals, I feel like we've made history. Our first year we made it into semifinals, which was good, and we worked extremely hard to get there. And last year, even though our entire team was sick, we did place 7th in finals for game day, and we hope to do that again. And this year, our goal is to make top 3 and to dance under the castle again. And I think we do it because our team is so dedicated and we work so hard. And so basically, like after state, we just don't want our grind to end, and we want to just keep working hard to our best potential. So going to nationals, I feel like that'll just help us reach to the top.
And for seniors, like going to nationals, it is the greatest final thing to do with your team, because after that we're done. They have another year. For us,
I feel like it really just brings your team together at nationals.
And when one gets sick, you all get sick.
Yeah.
Does Under the Castle refer to Disney World? Is
Yeah,
that what that
we
means?
perform at like ESPN, so they just have like this giant like castle in the background that if you make it to final, or like if you're in a larger division, but we have a small little team, so it's kind of harder to get to that spot. So
Because there's 3 rounds, so we just try to get to the 3rd.
They have 4 different venues going of competition the whole weekend.
yeah,
Oh,
So
you want to end up at the last venue.
Well, thank you, ladies. We hope we have you back a year to actually celebrate how this year's gone. We know
Yeah.
we've been able to do that in the past. So we're excited for you. And anybody have any questions for the prom team?
we're just so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You continue to amaze every year, and I love watching your performances. I was kind of hoping you'd perform for us tonight.
If there was enough room, I
I
would.
know. But yeah, we're so proud of all your hard work and your dedication.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question. What type of fundraising are you doing? You said you're fundraising, each athlete will raise around $1,500. So what are you ladies
yeah,
gonna
so we did Top Golf this summer,
Okay.
which we raised around actually $25,000, which was
Nice.
awesome. We're currently selling Roosevelt flags that are double-sided for the community. We just put out, we're calling it You've Been Booed. So you can order like a gift basket, bag, or a basket, and we can deliver them through the community. A lot of our parents work CSU games and earn lots of money through that. I'm trying to think what else we've done.
The egg.
We did Egg Your Yard. Right. We did do like it's almost like the football rider cards, but just some discount cards through other places. So we have awesome parents who kind of are our fundraising committee and plan try to do one fundraiser a month.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for being here. We wanted to do it this way so that you want to leave. It's on the consent agenda. Likely the board has been, since I've been here, at least I think longer than that, super supportive of the experiences that our students have. And so we're excited to see you thrive in Colorado, but also have a great experience outside of Colorado.
Thank you.
I hope. So, all right?
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
That's it for me, President Wells.
Kyle, we can move on to board reports.
I feel like I should start because I start all the time.
You always do. You're a good starter.
Yeah, so I just want to congratulate all of our students. We're a month into school and everyone's thriving, and I'm seeing all of these projections with our prom team and our football team, and I'm just so proud of everyone and how hard they're working. And then academic wise, just to see all the opportunities our students have. So for my board report, though, I really thank everyone in admin that's been working so hard on the website. I really feel as a parent in the district that we have such a better communication this year than we have had in the past. So I really appreciate that. So I want to give a shout out to everyone that's been working so hard to make that happen and to get information out to parents. Because I think that was one area that we could improve on, and I can see those improvements being made. So I'm really excited for that. And then tomorrow we get to be here. I get to be here as a representative to the library to celebrate Milliken Elementary Literacy Night. So I'm really excited to be here tomorrow night and to celebrate all of the wonderful things that Milliken Elementary is doing. And so that's going to be a really special night. And that's all I have.
All right. Sorry I was late. I was at a KQA volleyball game. It was a good game, but they lost. But I think I went to the home football game, and I have to say the halftime show is the students putting their efforts into those activities for the halftime show has in 4 years they've exceeded any kind of expectation. Like, they're just phenomenal, and it's nice to see the participation in the activities and to hear and see people watching them. I know in the past it's been hard as a community that at halftime everybody stands up and walks away and doesn't watch the halftime show, and seeing people stay to watch it is really great. And then the students are supporting each other too, and it's really great. And I also really liked what the high school did with the football games. It's much less chaotic this year than compared to last year, even though it was the first one. So I think that planning and forethought into it was really good. And the last thing I wanted to say is, I don't know if anybody else said it, but there was an SSO who served Milliken, Officer Mick, and I know kids liked him, and he always was really great to the teachers of like pre-planning, glaring at the students to keep them in line, but it was kind of an inside joke with the teachers and staff. He did a great job being that liaison, and it's sad to see his passing.
I don't have a ton. Superintendent Nielsen mentioned it, but I was able to attend the golf tournament as well. So I just wanted to say thank you to the Weld RE5J Foundation. They did a great job putting that event on. They raised, I think you said $22,000 at the tournament. Over that. We'll get a good number later. But they also said at the golf tournament, they have a presentation afterwards during lunch. And they've given out more than $25,000 in scholarships to our students. So that's really exciting and a great opportunity for our students. We got to hear from a couple of them, one that's at CU Boulder and one that's at UNC that's taking advantage of that scholarship. So it was really exciting to hear about that. We attended the first football game as well, and I agree. The forethought into everything, down to, I don't know about if you guys remember, but last year there was a tent on the field, and that was what I heard the most about, was that people couldn't see around the tent. This year they have a bench that's got a top, so it does what they need it to do, and it's much easier to see the field. Nobody complained to me about it. So
Nice.
that was good. And then last year, the first football game, it took us, I don't know, 40 minutes to get out of there. This year, it was just a breeze. So kudos to them that put that all together and thought all that out. Other than that, I agree, Monica. It's been a really good start to the so far. So I'm excited to see where the rest of the year takes us.
My turn. Into, I don't know, watch softball games, something like that. JV's doing great. Varsity doing great. They both won their tournaments. I think it was last weekend. It's kind of a blur. But they're performing very well, representing us well. Yeah, football game was great. The band did well. Color Guard is amazing this year. They're both performing this weekend at the Friendship Cup. I'm going to go to that. I'm getting lots of sun, which is fantastic. I love watching the softball games. It's kind of my thing. So yeah, the football game, I loved it. I loved the halftime. It was great. Good time. Blocked. So that's easy for me to get out of there. And no, I didn't cut through the fence.
You say.
I mean, I thought
I mean, you
about
can't say that in public, but
I told my daughter, I said, they're going to film the school board member cut through the fence. I refrained and walked back. So, yeah, it's a good start of the year. Love going to the football games. I love all the Mary's Mountain cookies and everything there. All my kids got cookies. It's a good time. So, yeah, you should go. Those girls play hard. I don't think they're enough recognition, but our softball team rocks. They do a real good job. So, yeah.
share the calendar with us.
Okay. They're fun to watch. I love softball. So.
Can I add one thing that I?
Oh no. Yes.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
So last Saturday we went to the craft fair that's held by our church, and the Exchange was there representing Roosevelt. And I have seen them at Morris recently, talking about that work that they're doing, selling the goods they're creating, and then to hear Miss Peterson talk about what those kids are doing, it's really exciting. They're doing a lot of great work in that Exchange. I know one of our agenda items tonight is to approve a student manager for the Exchange. So it's just really exciting to see what they're doing, to see the experience those kids are getting, and the goods they're creating. I bought a shirt. My wife bought a hat. We're ready to go for the next one. So, anyway, I just wanted to call it. It's a really cool program. It's a really cool program that our kids have access to. So, okay.
All right. I don't have a whole lot either. Tomorrow I've got a BOCES meeting. This past weekend though, I did go to Yes Fest at the Link. Well, I think you should attend that next year and see what they're doing with that. So Yes Fest is the youth engineering and science, and they do it at the Library Innovation Center in Greeley. It was amazing how much engagement they were with the kids at every single booth. And some of them were very simple, almost like maybe they thought of it the day before, what we're going to do for our activity, and some were really extravagant. But at every single one, the kids were just so engrossed and excited to learn. And so as I was walking through it, the weirdo that doesn't have a child there and probably was raising all kinds of red lights with security. What's that guy doing? But it made me think of, the programs that we offer in these schools, and maybe even at the middle school level and the high school level. It would be such a fun thing to do for like that kickoff, get our elementary students in what 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 12th grades can offer for them in this district, and just build that excitement. Because we had a board meeting for High Plains on Monday night, and I said, I think they need to take that thing on the road, because it is, they had great partners. They had Ames was there, multiple divisions from Ames, multiple divisions from UNC, putting on these little demonstrations that related to science and engineering. And it was really cool. So, anything else? All right, we will move on to the report from the superintendent's office.
All right, President Wales, board members, tonight I'm going to turn my report over to a couple of our esteemed leaders, and I'm going to start with the team from this building, talking a little with you, a little presentation, and then, you know, a chance for you to talk with them about some of what's going on in this building. So we'll start with that. Dr. Krill, if you want to lead us off.
And nice to help as well. Thank you, Superintendent Nielsen, President Wales, and esteemed members of the board. We're excited, had a great start to the year as well. To be able to come to talk to you tonight about some successes that our students and our staff have worked really hard for. It's an exciting place to be. And last year in priority improvement, we wrote a UIP that really focused, a unified improvement plan, that really focused on 3 major improvement strategies that continued the work we'd laid in that first year and really gave us great direction for last year and continuing on with that this year. Our first major improvement strategy was around quality, best first instruction. And the second one is related to it around data-driven and collaborative conversations. And so the work that we did with teaming last year really fed into both of those strategies, along with really focusing on race responses across the K-5 grade levels. Our pre-K joined us where it made sense for them to as well. We had 2 teams that really led the way in teaming, and that was our kindergarten team and our 5th grade team. And I just want to make sure that we recognize them tonight. They were our guinea pigs, and they started and they did such a great job leading that off. And speaking about it, that the rest of our staff was very eager to join and continue with me as well. So we ended last year with 3 teams, or 3 additional teams, so a total of 5, completing at least 1 impact team cycle or teaming cycle. And that, I think, is a huge component to, one, aligning the work that we do across a grade level, but also ensuring that we're having deep, rich discussions about what our students are showing us, and then what we can do to improve their outcomes, what we can do to improve their learning. And our teachers are the challenge, our students are rising to the challenge, and we're super excited. And then Alan's going to take over with our 3rd major improvement strategy.
Yeah, the 3rd one was centered around supporting students and having student supports in place so they could succeed. One of the moves we did a little differently, and we actually worked alongside the other elementaries. They did had a similar approach, of a 15-day log. So teachers had a voice on students they felt like needed some supports. And it could have been from adult connections to SEL supports, mentoring, academics as well. And from there, our mental health team, which we met first quarter, I think 1 week, and kind of fell off to about twice a month after that. And our focus in that mental health team was about what does that student need, that support. We know that if students don't have those basic needs met, they're going to really struggle in the classroom to have success. And that was our focus. And so things that we did alongside that, we have 2 student liaisons. They're student-facing positions that support kids every single day, support staff with students too. So that can mean reading a social story with the student, giving them a break, getting energy out if they're a rambunctious first grader, just a little energy out. So putting that into place and really honing in. We had done some of that work the year before, but really focused even further with that. We also had a North Range therapist just in our building, and Paige is awesome. And she did a lot of work, caseload of about 30 on average. Some kids would come in, some kids would leave, and kind of move out of the program, but it was a huge success. And her work alongside teachers it was pretty incredible to watch. Also, along with student success and services and support was the work, and we're now doing more of it across the district. 2 years ago, we kind of dipped our toe in restorative practices or culture of care. Last year, I'd say we were like hip deep, maybe. I don't know. It can be debatable. Maybe it was knees, but at work, it was around restoring conversations that were taking place in the classrooms, as well as instead of looking at the traditional discipline model, saying, okay, we're going to keep kids as much as we can in school and allow them to feel the weight of their choice, but to restore it too. And so work's done there because they can't learn if they're not in school. And so that was our focus as well. I think that's it on the student services. So.
And then I get to share with you all our next steps. So moving forward into this year, we want to keep going with the momentum that we have from such a successful year last year. So as Alan alluded to, we are going to continue our restorative practices. I've been fortunate to get trained in the culture of care restorative training. There's been 4 sessions. And so our goal is to have our team that has been going to the trainings come back and train our staff so that we can empower all of our staff members to have those restorative conversations and really just make it a part of our culture here. We've also kind of shifted the meetups that we did last year. We've shifted to where we're calling it a literacy night, which is happening tomorrow. And we kind of made that shift based on some feedback that we had gotten from parents and teachers around kind of the focus of that night. So we're making it more of a community type feel where parents and families can come in and play some literacy games with their students. We're going to provide dinner, and then we're encouraging our staff to have conversations or some of the student data and what they're seeing in the classrooms and things like that, just informally, so it feels more comfortable. We also have changed our intervention block. So we've shifted our master schedule around a little bit, and our interventionists are each going to be working with just 2 grade level teams. So we've got 3 interventionists. This allows them to take part in the teaming work that those grade level teams are doing. It also allows us to focus even more so on math as well as literacy. So we've got more time to bring that aspect in as well. And then it gives the teams a little bit of flexibility and creative ways to intervene with the students. And then the last part is just vertical alignment and making sure there's clarity amongst standards and how we instruct so that we can make a cohesive transition when we move to the intermediate.
A couple things I just want to add when I think about the work this team is doing, but we talked a year ago about looking at changing status, right? And having Milliken entry as a leader in the district. And they had last spring an opportunity for the other elementaries to come watch what they're doing. They're leading some of the work right now. But I had a chance to talk to Jen last week. I got a call from one of the superintendents I know well in Denver, one of the highest performing districts in the state. And they had found out about the move that happened in this building. And they want to bring a team of their district leaders and a couple elementaries down there that they're struggling with. How do we change the expectations, which is really what this school has done. And they want to come watch a team here. So if you think about that, that's like one of the gold standards the state would hold up as a district. One of those schools that's right there on the cusp of being accredited with distinction, and they want to come watch what's going on in this building. So when you think about changing status and the work this building's done, that was exciting for me, and I think exciting for the team. And then the other thing, and this is going to sound a little bit corny, but on the back side of it, we'll talk about it again. The work that they're using is a book. So there's a book that talks about some of the protocols that Jen and her team are leveraging. The other schools will also. And the book is called Impact Teams, which is why that's what the language I'll use is impact teams, even though we're using subsets of that. But the author lives here in Colorado. The author also heard about the movement that this building made and is offered to sit down with us, celebrate with Jen, but our other two principals as well. And so we're gonna take a trip and we'll meet, she lives in Aspen, we're gonna meet her in Vail, and we're gonna have lunch with her. Knowing Barb well, Barb will have celebration and stretch. She'll push us as we sit with her, asking, trying to understand what's going on. But it means Jen will have a chance to sit with her peers and talk about what she's done, help them get more confident and comfortable with the work they're gonna do in their buildings, but continue to build cohesion. And so those are two that are happening that I think are cool in continuing to gain traction in this district to do what this building's done and replicate it in the other two buildings going forward. And replicate it here also. So any wondering questions you have for three great leaders?
I have a high level question because can you remind me how many students we have today-ish and what the percentage of free and reduced lunch is in this building?
So we have around 450 students, which is different from last year. Last year we were sitting at mid 470s, but that's because of the restructuring preschool. So about 450 students, and then this is the first year that we are above 50% free and reduced lunch, so we're at 53%.
Does that make us a Title IX?
We're Title I.
Title I. What is Title IX? I don't even know Title IX. Title I.
Anti-discrimination.
We're Title IX too.
Yeah, we're,
All right.
all our schools are that, by the way.
Right. One of the reasons I ask that is because I know the stats for the school because it's in Milliken and I watch it, and this school has always had a very high and free and reduced lunch, which presents a lot of challenges. And so the third pillar is great that you're working on that with the students because they really need that. Being in the family situations, they're a little bit not troubling, but trying. So the fact that we're really supporting them here and trying to make sure that they come to school, like the communities that care thing, to get them here and then just try to deal with them. I think that is also helping too. So I think your guys' holistic view that you're doing is phenomenal. And I hear about it all the time in the community, about how great this team is. I moved my kid here because they needed the support and I knew the school would give support. Like I'm hearing that, so that's really great.
What excites me most about this move with our data is that we put structures in place that can continue, but that our staff has made this move and we have a higher free and reduced lunch rate than we've ever had, a higher minoritized population rate. It's a school for equity, and it means a lot to us that we are meeting the needs of all of our kids.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, I love telling the story of Milliken Elementary and just the growth that has occurred here and the level of learning that's happening. And it's just such a topic of pride that I can say we get a lot of new families that I get to see at the library. And a lot of those are starting out with littles and they're to figure out where to go to school. And I can proudly say, don't go out of the district. Check in all the schools in our district. I'm telling you, I can get you the data, but no matter where you live, no matter what school you go to, we're going to exceed expectations. And we can just say that with such pride for everything that you've done here. It is phenomenal.
Then I have another question. Before we kick it over. I know, sorry. What can the board do to help support you guys? Whether I know like going to helping out with Night Success Lab is always an option, but are there other things that we can do to support the work going on in the school?
I think I'll open it to the team too, but in preparing for the transition into two buildings, I think making us aware is, I'm sure you'll hear different things than we hear, but knowing that we want to plan for everyone to make the move successful for everyone, that will be key, especially as we look at moving systems from one space into two spaces. That'll be something that's heavy. I mean, not heavy. It's important to us. Yeah.
We'd love to have you guys in the building. think Amy were walking in, or when she was walking in, talking about coming over when schedules allow, and we'd love to see just people in the building seeing the great work coming alongside us.
I was gonna say the same thing, visitors, and we're always looking for a volunteer, certain things too, so.
Yeah, we are building our mentorship, so if you're looking in Watchdog Dads, if some of you guys want to come on over, let us know.
Question. The therapist you have from North Range, tell me a little bit more about that. Is that a role instead of maybe a school counselor, or what's their title?
Yeah.
Like, is there?
District has a grant, probably multiple grants have it. I could talk a little bit further, but for our position. And they are trained on Mondays at North Range in Greeley, but Tuesday through Friday, they essentially, although they're being paid through North Range, and really North Range is who their employer is, they're housed here. They're part of our community. And so there's a whole referral process, but really it's centered around our mental team. As a team, we make that decision based upon the referrals, and then we decide to pass that out. It's in complete cooperation and very clear to the families that we're working alongside. A lot of times those are the calls that I'm making, but we as a team make those and just saying, hey, here's the next layer, that tier 3 support. And parents typically are already approaching that kind of mindset. So yeah, she's part of our staff. She helps jump in when counseling needs on the smaller end, sometimes with some restorative work. We do also have a full-time counselor as well. So we have quite a few people that are helping every single day to support kids where they're at, as well as the responsive needs, as well as those standing every week kind of sessions with kids, small group skill building. Yep.
Thank you. Yep. So one comment and one question, and the comment is more to our admin team. We need to tell that story about MES and the great work that's happened and the improved academic performance, the meeting the author because she saw cool things that were happening here. We got to tell that story to the community. I think it's already out there a little bit, but Facebook, newspaper, whatever, it needs to get out there. And then question, we talked a little bit about it already, but you guys have done all this great work. You have effectively created culture change amongst your teachers more than even just your students, which is awesome. But now we're going to split you guys up into 2 different teams. And I know some of this is dependent on who comes in as leaders and those kinds of things, but how do you all see the great work you've done continuing into 2 buildings? And I'm asking you to look in your crystal ball a little bit. I know it might change, but how do you see that happening right now?
I think it goes back to mindsets. We were talking with teachers last week around teaming, our instructional leadership team. And one member on that team said, I'm just going to do teaming because it helps me be a better teacher and it helps my students learn better. When you believe that, you can move the system anywhere. And you can have other people buy into that belief because you hold it and you own it. I believe their staff has developed into warm demanders. Work we started our first year. They've developed around teaming, around how do we look at the standards and how do we meet student needs. And so wherever our staff goes, they will go and I believe they'll carry that on, and it's our role this year to prepare them for that shift, but then whomever is leading in the different buildings to pick up that charge and carry it and continue like that. Yeah.
Can I just add, just brief? I think some of the work, we're in this weird spot, right? Like we know this is coming. Everyone feels it. It's somewhat of a elephant in the room, but at the same time, our focus is right here, right now. However, with that, as we talk about decisions and next steps within our systems, how is it sustainable over both buildings? And an example, not everybody can see it in the room, but one of our new PBIS systems we put in place is a token system. And it was very much thought through, like, hey, when the conversion happens, that system's traveling. Kind of non-negotiable in some ways, right? Because the PBIS team is comprised of teachers and staff all throughout the building, and a lot of them will be part of that other building as well. So it's that balance that we're having to kind of navigate, which can be a challenge, I'll state that, and I think we would agree with it. But really a lot of people are watching what we're doing and saying, the focus is here now. We have to continue to maintain that high expectation. success is awesome, but sustaining it is the ultimate goal.
There's no arriving, right?
Yeah.
We're designated as performance, but that, like, even if you're designated that, then the next year is the next year, and so we will continue to strive. Yeah.
I don't have any questions. Fortunately, however you want to look at it, we've spent a lot of time talking about what's happened here, and I think I have all my questions answered about that. But I'm trying to remember the discussion we were having. But I made a request. I think it was about. I think we were having a conversation about alignment, and I made the request. Oh no, it was student handbooks. It was about student handbooks, and I made the request of the admin teams to be thinking about the future as this district grows, how we apply the things we're putting in the student books into other buildings. And I think that's part of what you guys are doing here too, is that we're thinking that mindset. How do we take what's happening, the success we're seeing at MES, how do we duplicate it in Pioneer Ridge and at Elwell and another elementary school when it comes, and a middle school and a high school. How does this? But over the past 2 or 3 weeks since we've learned about where you guys have scored, I keep thinking, I think you guys got to get ready for a bigger stage than the district, because I think there's going to be more people looking in who are going to want to know, what the success in this thing that's wildfire through this district. I think you guys are going to be kind of the tip of that spear, the leaders of that. And so I would say, think about that. Think about how you would take this outside of this district, or when these other districts come and start asking, what are how do you distill this down to where you can share it with us? Because I think you guys are onto something that is super exciting, and it's more than the people sitting here that are seeing it. So
I concur with that statement, President Wales. One of the other things I want to, and I'm going to connect what I heard this weekend to something I saw Dr. Krill do and the team followed, but in conversations we had last year, I heard this keynote on Saturday say it was about passivity versus patience, and how close those words are, and yet how far away they are. And when I think about the movement that they made, that they're still making in this building, Jen talked tonight to start with about 2 teams that started things. In education, we often say we have to do this, and we push it to everybody. And we don't have the capacity to push it to everybody, and we don't have buy-in from everybody. But when we think about patience in the move, doing the work they did here about finding your runners, and they found a couple teams that were the runners, and they gave them something to run with and then tried to hang on. And what happened is other teams here, they grabbed that rope and tried to hang on too, and they ended up wanting the same thing those runners got. And so they were going after a target, but being patient as people started to catch fire with it. And so that's important as we make this move. And I'm innately impatient with this, because I can see what they're doing and how powerful it is. But we have to do that at the other schools too. We've got to let each of those buildings do what Jen did here, bring people along, and let people's perceptions change as they see the evidence demonstrate. And it was masterfully done here. I mean, they brought teams along at a beautiful rate, much faster than I probably thought you could. And it was done because they allowed people to say, hey, I want some of that on me too. And you're still feeling that energy in this building. And that's a beautifully thought out leadership move that often we miss in education. Lots of places, businesses miss it all the time. But education, we miss it in spades. We do nothing and we hope, or we decide we have to move everything at the same pace, and you can't. It doesn't work. And so what's happening here to move and let the move be organic, but with structure, is just a masterful leadership move.
Agreed. I guess I do have one question, and it's I'll just ask it. Environment. this school is definitely a different building than it was 2 years ago. Do you think, did that play any part in that?
I know I see pride in our students. I see pride in our teachers. I see pride when our parents come into the building. They are proud of this. It is beautiful. And if you haven't seen that new gym floor, please make sure you check it out. It's amazing.
I saw it going in, so yeah, I got to go see the finished product.
So I think when you feel proud about where you are, yes, that plays a big role in it. I've said we have the right team. We just need the team rowing together. We worked hard to get the team rowing together. Our team is solid. And not just our admin team, our teacher team, our para team, our custodial team. It is a strong team across our building, and it's exciting. I think there's pride in the work that we're doing. I've always said that in title schools, teachers work harder than any other role, and I don't know how to say that nicely to schools that aren't Title I schools, because we have a different hand dealt to us, but we're playing our hand, and we are playing it as strong as we can, and the building helps, and it's beautiful.
Oh, good. I know it's what is happening with you guys is the key piece, but I agree. I think environment has a lot to do with how not only the staff will perform, but how the students will feel safe and invited and engaged in where they're at. So oddly enough, there's a lot of people that don't believe that. So that's kind of why I asked the question. Anything else?
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Good work.
Good job.
All right, then our second topic tonight is with Dr. Albert. And as you remember last year, mid-year, I think Rebecca she had 2 jobs. And when I think back on the 2 jobs she was doing, they were almost diametrically opposed. And they, not necessarily, because one was safety and security, and one was CTE and all things work-based learning kind of. And when I think about turning Rebecca loose with her passion area, we can't keep up with her. So when we moved full-time, we took her out of the safety and security, where she was good at it, but that wasn't moving our district forward the way that she's able to move our district forward. I sat in a big hall at Ames today, and who were the speakers calling on to help fill the room? Because of the expertise she brings, because of the work this district's doing, much of which her fingerprints are a part of. So she's with us tonight to talk a little bit about workforce development. It's Workforce Development Month, the month of September. And so it made sense to have Rebecca come and share some of the things that she is helping the district do around workforce development for the month of September and beyond.
President Wills, members of the Waldari 5J School Board, and Superintendent Nielsen, thank you for letting me talk to you today. I am a walker and a talker, so and usually I have bullet points, but I wrote this out so that I can rein myself in, because we have so much positive to talk about that, well, I could keep you here till 9, but I feel like 1 or 2 of you may not want that. So I'm a little stationary and probably more rigid than typical tonight, so I apologize for that. As Superintendent Nielsen mentioned, September is Workforce Development Month. It's recognized in the state of Colorado as well as nationally. Workforce development is a powerful driver of economic progress. It aligns with the district's vision to create college and career pathways that teach our students technical and transferable skills. They give our students a competitive edge as they pursue their passions in our district and after their graduation in the workforce and in higher education. You have heard, I believe, several times at this point that we, over the past 5 years, have gone from 5 to 17 state-approved career and technical education pathways in a single building. That is a feat that I have not yet discovered replicated in any single school in the state of Colorado. An important part of our state approval is how we address workforce development. In addition to the skills that students are learning in their coursework, several of which have concurrent enrollment opportunities, we are doing the following things to also support that, the first of which is partnerships. It is important for us that we are part of the Northern Colorado construction, manufacturing, health, nonprofit, and hospitality sector partnerships that go across Larimer and Weld counties. We also participate with NOCO Inspire, NOCO Works, the Northern Colorado Work-Based Learning Alliance. We partner with CareerWise. We also partner with Weld County Workforce Development and Weld County Employment Services, as well as the JGDA, as well more locally. And one of the other areas that we support that workforce development, you probably have heard, I believe a few weeks ago, a little bit more about our high demand industry certificates. It was just the spring of 2021, we had earned none. And the spring of 2024, we had earned 249 that were a part of the CDIP, which is that high demand. We do have a pathway, our sports medicine pathway is just not eligible for any of those, but they also earn certificates. So total, we have over 270 students that earned, or some students, of course, earned more than one. So I should say we earned over 270 different certificates. A big piece of that work-based learning, and I definitely don't always make the right choice, but I definitely made the right choice when I walked down to Jennifer Borison's speech classroom. And I said, I have a crazy idea. I think that actually we might be able to utilize your skills and help students reach their full potential if you would be our work-based learning coordinator and if you would be our ACE teacher. And she looked at me and said, I love speech. And I said, I know you do. And I think that you're probably one of the most, like the best mama bear, fearless, passionate people that we have. And I really think that this actually might be the fit for you. And she thought about it. I'm sure she thought I was a little nuts for a couple days, and she came back and she said, I'm in. And I think that was, that position then was created after the bond as well. And that first year, as Jennifer was doing a 0.5 of ACE pathway and then 0.5, see I'm walking, a 0.5 of ACE and then also a 0.5 of work-based learning, we supported just 6 students that first year. But Jennifer, this fall, will have 40, just this fall. Also want to mention that part of our support in the workforce development area comes from our participation in what is now called the NOCO K-12 Collaborative. There are several school districts in Larimer and Weld County that are working together. It is housed, or this opportunity is within Zello, which we're using also to support ICAP planning for students. But it provides our students access to over 500 opportunities between job shadows and apprenticeships. It also provides them access to over 2,000 businesses across Northern Colorado. We also have more than 20 different local businesses that have supported our students with work-based learning placement as well. Also want to give a huge shout out here and thank Scott Nielsen for the support and you for the support of helping us to create those new student positions. We will have 20 here. We have new positions in IT, catering, facilities. Obviously the exchange is up for, again, another student manager position. We have 3 so far. But obviously, I talk about seeing us out and about more, being open more in the evenings and things like that. It's just another one of those positions students are gaining very valuable experience with. And then we've been talking about a plan to support custodial as well for second semester. So we're hoping that we can look at how that looks in the fall to see if we can come to you all and ask for some approval for that as well then later. Just to finish up here with a few things, things I'm very proud of. The district has, I believe, not just talked the talk, but rather it has walked the walk as we continue to provide meaningful real-world opportunities for our students that provide them with a competitive edge over their peers. People see our students as leaders, which is a direct reflection of our students' efforts, our teachers' work, support that's provided by our district and school board leadership, our parents, our families, and our local businesses. And I think that that partnership, I think I said it even yesterday, I'll talk about the event here in just a moment that we had yesterday, but Jennifer and I are never told no. It is incredible. And every meeting I go to, people are like, how do you? And I'm like, I don't know, we haven't been told no. The businesses just support the school and they support the kids. And so every time we are out talking about a new partnership, a new mentor, a new placement for our students, they say yes. And I'm very proud to say that Jennifer and I in conversation just were discussing the day, as we provide the skills to those students, we have not had a work-based learning student, employer, mentor come back to us and say that student wasn't prepared. That student was disrespectful. We don't hear those things. We always hear such positive feedback And then that word of mouth continues to grow, of course, to others as we continue. So we're very, very proud of that. Yesterday, just want to celebrate that yesterday at the Branding Iron at Roosevelt, we held the Weld County Workforce Development Youth Committee meeting. And the students in the ProStart program with culinary catered the event. Assistant Superintendent Kramer was able to be there, as well as Jennifer was there. We had 4 students from 4 different pathways, from business, from really STEM and engineering. We had a student from health sciences and a student from agriculture, and they provided a panel for that committee to ask questions about. And then I gave a tour as well, but Assistant Superintendent Kramer and I talked about it. You would think I talked to those kids. Every question that they were asked, they provided incredibly intelligent, thoughtful, just supportive answers to not only what they have learned, the experiences that they have had, the instruction they have received, all at Roosevelt High School with respect to their pathways. So that was a really great event. It was nice to have all those folks in to have them see what we were doing. I would like to do a little shout out. Jennifer is actually going to be speaking in the Work-Based Learning Track Symposium on September 24th. If anyone is interested in going, she's going to actually lead a session that is how to build youth internships and how to mentor youth. We are also hosting, part of my job is to listen to the crazy ideas, right, and make sure that they happen, so to support the kids. So we are having on October 4th a full 1,232 student event all day long. It's going to be the College and Career Convention. Jennifer is working double overtime, as we currently have more than 70 different local businesses, vendors, higher education partners that are going to come into the building on that day to talk with our students. And we have more than 50 different hands-on workshops that the students will be able to participate in. They'll be able to actually do some front load right now, this week and next week, to prepare for that. That includes anything from a FAFSA workshop to scholarship workshop to resume building workshop to Encore Electric is bringing the escape room so kids can have some hands-on opportunities as well. And it was really, really important to both Jennifer and I that this was not a college and career separate event, that this was about passion, about pathway, about student interest, so that down the hallway of skilled trades and ag, it is colleges and careers, skilled trades and ag. So that down the health science pathway, it is colleges and careers. So we're trying to really make sure that students can see that whatever their passion is, it can lead them directly into the workforce. We will help you prepare for that. If they would like to go to college, we will help prepare for that as best that we can in those areas of interest. And this is absolutely not to toot my own horn, but I want you to think about how this reflects upon the work that we've done that I've been able to support. I will be able to speak at a national convention in Portland here in a few weeks. I wanted to really just to read to you some of the objectives of the session that I'll be speaking. It's about learning the methods of comprehensive outreach and identifying CTE programs that align with the unique needs and aspirations of a community. The development of a district-wide master plan that focused and included CTE integration and how it results into a holistic and deeper approach to implementation, and to explore how you can weave history and culture into a facility that stitches program and community together. So these are all just some of the things that we're really trying to do to support our students as they're preparing to enter into that workforce or into higher education. So I want to say again, thank you for all of the support that we've received here. I mean, these things are, I know that we are recognized in the state, know that we are recognized locally. People are, you know, much like this amazing situation, there's been a lot of growth in a short amount of time, and people want to know what's the secret to the sauce, you know? So it's been incredible. So thank you very much for that. If you have any questions, this is me reining it in for the record.
That's what I'm talking about is, I mean, you guys are going to be, the 4 of you will all be in jets before too long, going everywhere. I'm sorry I missed the event yesterday, yesterday. I sit on that committee, and a year ago was trying to get that committee to come to the school, and it was so sad that I had personal stuff going on, and when I saw dates align, I was like, no, I've been waiting for this for a whole year. But when I got home today and I was going through my emails, lots of gushing. Everybody was just blown away, which I knew they would be. And so good job on that.
Kids were amazing, like I said. They really were. And that, like I said, really reflects. Jennifer and I were actually talking as we're getting all these people, the teachers signed up to help with this, is everywhere we take students, construction con, the manufacturing, like all of these events, we always get emails afterwards. Your kids were the best. Your students were the most professional. They were well spoken. They were respectful. And we just keep talking about that's not any one person's effort. That's a system effort that starts at home, and of course continues on with all of us and the support that we receive and the teachers, et cetera. It's incredible. Our kids are just, everyone always gushes about them. They were fantastic.
Yeah. As you guys know, I'm on the Weld County Workforce Development Board, and obviously workforce development is very holistic, and it's broader than just high school and early adulthood. I mean, it covers the whole workforce. But I will say, there's an exciting thing that's going to be happening. And I don't think I can actually say what it is yet because we're on camera. But there's been a series of promotions at Health and Human Services that has opened up a very important position to workforce development, and a very important and critical person who could be a great ally to the district is going to be taking that spot. And I'm super excited to announce it, but I can't. So I have to sit back and just wait for the go ahead. But going to your request and your about what we can do, knowing that there's a big thing happening there, I think it's important that this board is thinking about that and trying to find ways to support as much as possible. Similar to what I said to the team from MES, and you get tired of this because I tell you this all the time. I send you emails all the time. But workforce development in the state of Colorado, especially in this region, is crazy. I mean, how many organizations did you list off there?
There are 5 just sector partnerships.
Right.
And we have the others.
Yeah, we've got NoCo Works, we've got NoCo Inspire, we've got 2 with Weld and Larimer, there's Workforce Development Board. I mean, there's all these disparate pieces. And I've been telling Rebecca, we've got to position you and this district as a leader on that secondary going into college piece, because it's getting confusing enough for parents, students, employers, companies. What does all this mean, and how does this apply to me? How does this apply to my student? How does this apply to my, parents are saying, how does this apply to my checkbook? I have to go, get my kid out of school. And so the work you're doing is so much more important than what we're seeing in the district. I think regionally, people are going to start looking to you. They're going to start looking to this district as that leader, similar to, like I was saying, to the MES team. Because everybody's it's like chickens running with their heads cut off. Everybody's excited and motivated, but nobody is really kind of reining that in and setting some guidelines and groundwork about how to be really successful with this, except we are.
We are, and we have, like I said, a big situation, by allowing students to have access to so many different opportunities within one building, allowing some districts force children to pick. Some districts will also say you can only pick one. And we're over here on the other hand saying, no, try it all. Try as much as you can possibly get into, and please draw that connection. You want to open up a bistro downtown? Absolutely. Let's figure out a way for you to take the business classes, take the culinary classes, take the agriculture classes, and put it together. And so I think that our students just have a very unique opportunity. And that's what I hear from a lot of giving tours and those things is, how are you able to do it? And we've been very fortunate to attract and retain some very high quality instructors too, and that makes a huge difference to our kids and to obviously then what we're able to provide them. So, and like I said, the partnership with the communities, I just got an email actually today about, finding ways for our students to support Mary Milliken. Those emails, people weren't able to reach out to us in that way before a few years ago. And now they see what our students are able to do and very easily like, hey, Could we? Of course, absolutely. Let's figure this out. We know that not every one of our students is going to stay, but we know that there's going to be a good group of them who stay, and we hope. I think Lisa Taylor from the Well Trust talked about it yesterday. We're trying to, of course we want everyone to stay. We want our students to be a part of that workforce development in Northern Colorado and our economic development as we boom. And it's coming. And well, it's here. It's happening. So yeah.
I just wanted to say that I think tapping on Miss Borson's shoulder has been phenomenal. I think her personality of making every student feel seen, important, and invited is actually part of your secret sauce. It's the right people on the right team. I mean, I see her at events all the time, even to kids who are not in high school. She's engaging with them and she's like, you're going to join my club. You're going to be a part of this, aren't you? You're going to be a part of this. So she's encouraging even the younger children to do that. And she's just so open and inviting. I think that's part of your secret too, is you picked a really great person to be your partner.
Yeah, that's right. She's the
a
best
great
mama bear that, for all the students.
It's a great leadership quality to be able to see who you need on your team and to invite them and accept them and encourage that too.
So again, one comment, one question. Well, I guess I'll do the question first while I think of the comment that just totally flipped out of my head. I'm wondering, so we do a great job of telling the story for CTE, right? And that was the comment. I'm glad to hear you talk about CTE and college readiness in the same sentence, because I've said before, I've heard Roosevelt focuses on CTE, right? They're getting kids ready for the workforce. They're not getting kids ready for college. That's not true. We know that's not true. We've heard that over and over again. But I think the perception in the community, until very recently, has not been that. So I'm glad to hear that the event you're doing is higher education and workforce readiness all at the same time. So I'm glad to hear about that. When we talk about telling the story, and you guys do a great job of getting out all those stories, things like taking over the district stuff. But I'm wondering if there is a way we can look into the future 4 or 5 years, and some of those students who right now are juniors and seniors who are taking some of those CTE courses, who are preparing for workforce college, whatever it's going to be, can we tell that story 4 or 5 years from now? What they did, how they, so do we stay in touch with those kids? Do we have access to them down the road?
That is a goal. We did last year start doing some graduate spotlights, and that's why we tried to do that as well, to show, again, that connection. And as those pathways, some of them are still just in year 3 and moving into year 4. So as we continue that is definitely a goal. I will say that when they leave Roosevelt, they are asked to provide an email and those things. Maybe, some of those, they don't check those. But that's definitely part of our goal, and part of obviously trying to track our data long term. Some of our data, obviously, if you look 5 years ago, in some of the pathways we had, it looks like we had more concentrators. I shouldn't say it looks like, we did, but the students also only had 5 choices. So we are really in a position of a lot of growth in a short amount of time, and we haven't really even plateaued. And so until we really plateau, we just kind of keep collecting and checking in and talking to students and graduates and doing what we can. But I definitely see that is the long-term goal, right? And I think especially we talk about this first set of new employees that are our students who are currently high school students who are earning credit and earning compensation. One of those students is actually from our first class of CNA. We're actually able to start employing a student at one of the elementary schools who has a CNA that they earned from us, and to support in the health aid office. Those are those students that it will be easier, I think, for us to keep tabs on. But some people create a new email address every month, so we'll work on it, and that's part of the goal. But it is, I think, a challenge once you get to that after that first year or so.
Yeah, I think back to when I was that age and I wasn't staying in touch with my high school, that's for sure. But if we can think about that, lay some groundwork, I think that'd be a really great story to tell.
I got a cold sweat anytime my old high school called. I found out. They figured it out.
They call you all the time.
So my stepson went through some of the CTE program, and he went to a tech school, and he's coming back to speak at Roosevelt. So he went one pathway, and then I think if you look at some of our I say girls because I'm a girl. Some of the kids that go maybe through the nursing programs and stuff, maybe you could keep in touch with them. And that's a 4-year pathway. You know, we could go some different routes and maybe focus on that too.
Yeah.
Because different pathways, different kids don't go to college, tech school, 4-year, whatever, advanced degrees.
No, I agree. It's hard. I mean, you have some of those pathways, like you was talking about health science in particular. We are, yes, providing some certificates to the students, and we would still strongly encourage a student who wants to be a CNA, a student who wants to be a rad tech, a student who wants to be a nurse, a student who wants to be a doctor. There are concurrent enrollment opportunities that we have that fit into, again, those, I like to call them pathways of passion or passion, you know, that it's not about CTE, it's about what are you interested in doing. Because for most of those areas, there's a place to get off that pathway when you want, whether that's go to school for 12 years or whether that is enter the workforce immediately. And that's part of why that we have more than 30 different concurrent enrollment classes, you know, at the school. Construction management, I think a lot of people unfortunately think of hammer and nail only. Well, again, we're offering 18 credits, you know, of concurrent enrollment, you know, during their high school time and multiple certificates. Some of them will enter the workforce. Others will go to CSU and do construction management. And they have all those opportunities. And I think that's important for us to keep honing in on telling that story. It's not about, of course, it's the workforce. I mean, whether you go to school for, if you enter the workforce directly after high school or you go to school for 12 years, you're still going to have a career. You're still going to enter the workforce. But how is it, you know, we need to, we're continuing, I guess, to refine how to tell that story to the communities about, you know, just making sure they understand that. Unfortunately, there were some antiquated views, not here, just everywhere, that I think sometimes can hurt progress, but we will continue to work on it for sure.
We do have most of the nursing programs here in Colorado require, you know, why do I keep forgetting the name of it? The CNA. And then you have another one, another certificate that they require, you know, focusing on that.
Yeah.
We talked about that a little bit.
And we just opened up behavioral health this fall as well. So we won't be able to go to state approval process until the spring. It's just part of the state calendar, but we've just opened that up as well. Which again, another high area of need, obviously, across the state as well.
One more thing I want to say. Can you or Jessica send us a calendar invite for the event at the workforce event that you guys are having in the building with the schools and the employers? And a huge thank you for doing that. It's really cool to be on this side, and when we sat and we dreamed about the building and how the building would look and some of the things we could do in the building, and then just see the designs drawn up and then actually see the building built. And now it's so rewarding to see and hear about these kind of things, because it'd be easy to maybe not use the space the way that we intended it to be used. And so to hear that it is going to be chocked full of all that stuff, that's super awesome. I think that's the technical term that they use. Super awesome.
I've got the resume workshop on your calendar. I'll work with Rebecca to get the rest of the events for that day on there.
Thank you.
All right. Anything?
I have a question for Superintendent Nelson regarding your report. How can we, as the board, get more visibility into some of the school events, not just CT, but just school events too? I always find that as a struggle. I'm always I know I ask this question all the time, but like, how can I get more visibility to try to see where I can slot myself? And I can't go to everything, but I can find things to go to. But sometimes it's hard for me to know what's happening when, like,
I think it's something we can continue to get better at. I think we're challenging ourselves with the same thing, right? Okay. Is that there are things that happen out there that even at the district office, we don't know about everything because there's a lot going on. But I think it's something we can continue to get better at. Okay. And I think a logical place, so there's a couple that are running through my mind. One is we continue to work with the website to have all the calendars rolled into one. So for us to encourage schools to have what's going on in their buildings on the calendars is one spot. And the other is the Friday update I'll continue to send to all of you, is having as much as we know about on their weeks in advance. And so and that's something we can continue to work on.
Great. And then I have a follow-up question on that. And I just realized this as Dr. Curl was talking. The school newsletters, has anybody else gotten any school newsletters? Like last year we got all the schools newsletters once a week. Am I the only one not getting them?
No, just the ones that my children are enrolled in.
Okay, I really liked those, getting all the school newsletters, because it gave me brief glimpses into, like, you know, I know some of the same, like drop off your kid in the correct way and things like that, but like it's just kind of
info.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice high level info. So I don't know how we dropped off those lists, but can we get back on the list?
We can work, yeah, we can get you back on those lists. I will tell you, I think that's been an interesting, and from parents, we've heard some positive feedback. Because we're going with the vendor that does our data warehousing, also does the newsletter. So the newsletters now go out with your, same as they do it, KQA did it ahead of us. And so they go out to the parents with information about how their own students are doing. So there's a little more focus to the, but that's why that's changed.
That's why it's a change.
It's a different vendor for us. It's ironic, you're off. Last year I wasn't getting all of them, and I'm getting all of them now. So but we certainly can make.
Yeah,
we
they're
can
just
fix
kind
that.
of nice high levels of a little insight into each of the building.
Yeah, we can fix that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or anything else you want to add to your report?
Nope, that's enough for me tonight.
All right.
By someone else's voice is pretty cool.
All right, well, we'll move on to the report from the CFO's office. Mr. Everest.
Thank you, President Hill, members of the Board of Education, and Superintendent Nielsen. Tonight, I'd just like to give us our monthly update on the district's overall financial overview. Looking at the second slide. Just generally, we're kind of where I would expect us to be at this point in time. One thing I would like to note, we've received about 11.3% of our monthly budgeted revenue. Again, I'm sure you might remember me talking about this last year. A huge portion of our budgeted annual revenue comes from local property taxes. We won't start receiving significant local property tax revenue until March, May, and June. So this number will be disappointing until we get to those later months. So, otherwise, district expended almost 94% of its monthly budgeted expenditures. Our schools' monthly budget spending ranges from 80.14% to 101.87%. All of our schools are what I would consider to be in an appropriate range of spending so far this year. If we go to the second slide, this is just an overview of the spending level at each school. You can see there. Looking at the next slide, looking at our district departments. Overall, our district departments spent just over 91% of their monthly budgets. There were some outliers, so professional development, improvement of instruction, Board of Education, and Office of Superintendent. Those were all significantly over what their monthly budgeted amounts would be, and those are all basically just from kind of one-time beginning of year type expenditures. So I'm not concerned at this point, with any department and with any of these four in particular. Looking at the other funds the district has, there's three funds I'd like to highlight that had kind of unusual spending patterns in August. Our food service fund, we'll see on the next slide, it had very little activity, and that's just simply because we didn't get a billing from Sodexo for the month of August. I got it this month, so there will be activity for us to look at next month. Our bond redemption fund, we won't have any significant expenditure activity until November, December, and May. This fund, you may recall, that's where we pay our principal and interest payments for our general obligation debt. And so those are scheduled in those months, and so we won't have anything until we reach those months. And our capital reserve fund, we did have kind of beginning of year, start of year, significant expenditures with curriculum purchases And then we did also purchase 2 new school buses for our transportation department. So those are kind of one-time beginning of year expenditures that we've had in the capital reserve fund. And then looking at our last slide, that just kind of shows current month's spending and the year-to-date spending per budget. This concludes my report, and I can answer any questions the board may have.
What's student count looking at? You knew I'm going to ask. Like, it matters so much. It's like our biggest driver of everything.
Student count is looking positive at this point. So the count day is October 1st. Lot can happen now and then. And then after October 1st, then district staff goes through kind of the reconciliation process to make sure that, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed for, student enrollment, to make sure that we're submitting, solid numbers to CDE. So in a couple of years, we don't have to pay a whole bunch of money because things weren't in the system correctly. But as I told Superintendent Nielsen this afternoon, that I'm happy with where we are right now.
You don't get a preview.
Jeez.
That says a lot. If he's happy about it, that says a lot.
That's what we decided to do. That's what we get from Michael. That's a pretty good place.
So piggybacking on student count, are we going to be doing marketing efforts or outreach or to, I know there's always incentives to kids like ice cream or puzzles on student count day. Are we going to start marketing the importance of that?
Yeah, each of the buildings, I think, will continue to push on the importance. I don't know off the top of my head the systems they have in place, but when we're together, we can talk about that. But there will continue to be incentives. I think each of the buildings.
Queso popsicles?
Oh, God.
Frozen queso.
Frozen queso?
Our buildings are.
Cheesecake is frozen.
Beyond just October 1, I think putting a lot of emphasis on attendance in general. So our attendance in general as a district is up right now, and I think backing on what we saw last year. But yes, the October, that window will be continue to be emphasized.
Okay, thank you.
So just one real quick question. Sodexo didn't provide us a bill for August or an invoice for August. Do we expect then a double dip in September for September and August, or are they month behind?
So no, we started food service operations in August. That's when we started feeding kids, and then typically we do get the bill the following month.
Oh, so that's just standard to do. Okay.
So we'll
start.
Okay, gotcha.
I got a question. I don't know who to ask this to, but when the bus thing reminded me of it, and maybe it's a question for JJ, but you might know since you probably write the checks for it. Do all of our buses get the home of the Rough Rider treatment on top or whatever it is?
Oh, along like the top edging?
Yeah. Because I saw a bus yesterday and it didn't have that. And it was weird because, and I don't see a lot of our buses. I see the one that goes by my house and that's about it. And I was in a part of town where I saw a bus and I thought, oh, I wonder what school district that is. Like, then I said, duh. I bet I could guess. But it was weird because it didn't have that. And I thought they all did.
I can definitely ask Mr. Long.
It's no biggie.
Know off the top of my head.
I think that's valid because I think forever, I mean, even since when I was a kid playing against Roosevelt, their buses always had that. It's always kind of been like a branding distinction between school district buses. The school district has always branded their buses a certain way.
That's why when I saw it, I kind of didn't think
so it doesn't just look like another boring bus. It's
what
our bus.
School district would have their bus on the street?
I think it's valid.
We can follow up on that.
Yeah.
You don't have to. It was just a question. If you knew it off the top of your head, I was fine. I don't want you to waste any time on it though.
I think it's a positive waste. I think it's a positive waste of time because branding your school bus as you're driving around to CT conferences is awesome. It just looks like a bunch of yellow buses, and then you see our bus, and our bus is distinctive.
If we want to have that conversation, I have been pushing on us getting one of those big old tour buses. That's what we need.
I was thinking
that makes Michael a little less happy than it's.
I know, yeah.
I've already told Michael what the bill would probably be. He's a little nervous about that.
We'll follow up on the
Riders. That is.
It sounds like with his happiness, we have money to brand our buses.
My happiness definitely has bounds.
All right. Limitations. All right.
And it involves spending money.
Any other questions for Mr. Everest? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I will move on to our consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by a single motion. Most of the items listed under the consent agenda have gone through board review and recommendation. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all board members and the public in advance to assure an extensive and thorough review. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion.
I guess just a question, because we have the Palms trip in it too. So I'm assuming the motion includes
Yes.
consent for them to go to that too, just to clarify, right?
Yes.
Well, I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed. I want to send the trip to Palms Nationals. I think that's a great use of our funding.
Second.
I have a motion by Director Johnson, a second by Director Proctor to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? I would add, as Superintendent Nielsen pointed out and Dr. Allred, that there are a number of students getting hired, or maybe you did. I don't even know what our buses look like. What do I know? We're talking about in charge of things here. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Diagana, would you please pull the board?
Monica Johnson,
Yes.
Amanda Proctor,
Yes.
Nate Sassano,
Yes.
Amy Musgrave, yes, Mike Colwick.
Yes. Do we need to recess? I need to log in, I know that.
We're close. That's what I'd say.
It's not a lot left after all that.
No, yeah. Sorry, I don't know why this does this to me, but it boots me out all the time. We will move on to our next item of business, which is old business, and that's all reading of amendment of board policy BE. That was school board meetings. I believe the change was our times, our start times. No feedback? All right. Any questions or discussion on that? We can take action on that.
I'll move that we adopt the amendment to board policy BE as presented.
I have a motion by Vice President Sassano, a second by Director Musgrave to adopt board policy BE as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Diagana.
Monica Johnson,
Yes.
Amanda Proctor,
Yes.
Nate Sassano,
Yes.
Amy Musgrave, Mike Colwick.
Yes. We'll move to our special business. Our first item is the City of Greeley-Conlew Intergovernmental Agreement, aka IGA. Superintendent Nielsen.
I would just ask, I think A and B, the two IGAs, over the last year, members of the board, Mr. Everest, myself attended 3 towns, the town of Greeley, the town of Berthoud, the town of Meade, all to work on cash in lieu agreements. Both Greeley and Berthoud have completed their end of the IGA, and so that's what's with us this evening, is an opportunity for us to sign our end of the agreement. So I would ask, the district would ask that we approve the first one, the cash in lieu agreement with Greeley. And then the second would be the cash in lieu with Berthoud. And then what I would just love to tell the board is Meade has not yet done their work. Mr. Everest, as we've talked, he says, I continue to let him know I'm here, and they haven't yet done their work, but they will, and will continue to pay attention to buildings, so it's in place before roads and rooftops begin to go in the development that we know about in Meade. So tonight we'd ask you to approve the Greeley first and then the Berthoud.
So the 5 municipalities that we sit on top of, if you will, we have Johnstown's approved theirs, right? Now we have Greeley and Berthoud. Meade is working on it, and Milliken is unsure. Is that correct?
We have one.
We have an existing.
We have an existing one with Milliken, just not the updated methodology and rates, correct? Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
Are we gonna pop poppers when
I know
Greeley sends us the first check? Or when, because we have getting cash in lieu from Greeley. This is the first time we've ever gotten cash in lieu from Greeley, correct? Because this is not an amendment, it's an actual first IGA.
This is our first cash in lieu IGA.
So are you gonna like pop one of those little like free things? Because that's exciting. I think it's
It
exciting.
is. It's huge. Again,
Not the building and stuff like that. I mean, I guess it is, but it's just exciting that we're recognized enough. We're prepared enough.
Yep.
They heard our story and are on board with it. And I think some of the stuff they put in there was really great. I know it was a lot, but I thought it was well written. IG. It seemed fair.
I'm excited whenever we get a check.
There you go.
It'll be a little while, but that development in what is Greeley city limits, but our district limits is not far away.
No.
So
Yeah,
it's going to be a big
moving
development.
through the development process. Yeah, I agree. So I'm glad we're prepared and not behind, not like they're breaking ground and we're like, oh no, we have to like start this conversation.
Which I will just state, it is my concern with Meade. We don't have a ton of shared boundaries with them, but there is, I don't know, probably 200, 250 homes that could be in our boundary. So we need to push on them.
Is there anything?
And not just sit back.
I agree. Is there anything as a board we could do?
That's what I was
Like
gonna
make
ask.
public comment, be like, hey, with the school board, I'm just here to make a comment and say what's going on. I don't right? Like,
Yeah.
is that do we need as a board to step into our more political role and go?
Well, and I have offered to Mr. Everest that because I know you've done a great job of reminding them every month or so that we're here, we're asking and all that. But if it helps to have a board member contact a board member, I've offered to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's helpful or not.
Just like jump in there.
Yeah. So, and that development is not, it's in process, but it's not really, there's no dirt moving yet.
It's moving a lot slower than the Greeley one. Yeah.
So I think we've got time, but I just want to call it out that we need to keep it on our radar.
I wonder, I could board member to a board member and the recognition that the other communities that we've worked on it with an IGA have all recognized us as part of. So that's not going to hurt, I don't think.
Maybe that's our public comment, like, hey, we just got Greeley and Berthoud on board, just checking in on me, you know?
I think, truthfully, I think they had, I wouldn't say concern, just questions about why we were even there. Because they're used to dealing with
same rain. Yep.
And it's such a small section of our district that is also in their town, what is it called, development window or whatever it's called. Yeah, that I just don't think they think this is a priority, which is fine.
They also were the most resistant of the new ones around what our IGA amount was.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was quite different than what St. Vrain's is.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the gentleman talked about, well, St. Vrain is a big district, they don't need to ask the same amount, and what they're asking for, what we're asking for is commensurate with what we should be asking for.
I guess we'll keep it on our radar, but if it helps to push a little bit in the next few months, then we can do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be helpful.
I'll just throw this out there. We could have a queso party and say, we're inviting the other municipalities. Would love to hand this invitation to you.
A gift basket of queso from the Pro Star program.
Sounds better than like meeting up in a dark alley to prove the point. Queso works a little better.
It is a miracle material, I will tell you that.
Do these need to be separate motions?
They do need to be separate motions.
I'm going to move that we approve the IGA with the city of Greeley concerning land dedication or payments in lieu for school purposes.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice President Sassano, a second by Director Proctor to approve the City of Greeley cash in lieu intergovernmental agreement as presented. Any other discussion on that particular IGA? Hearing none, Ms. Diagana?
Monica Johnson,
Yes.
Amanda Proctor,
Yes.
Nate Sassano,
Yes.
Amy Musgrave,
Yes.
Michael Will.
Yes. That was my popper.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'll move to approve the intergovernment agreement with the town of Berthoud concerning land dedication or payments in lieu for school purposes.
Second.
We have a motion by Director Johnson, a second by Director to approve the Berthoud cash in lieu intergovernmental agreement as presented. Any discussion on that one? Further discussion on that one? Just make them.
No, I was telling her I'm proud of her for making 2 motions tonight.
Oh.
She was proud that she got her system working.
Oh.
Got it. Another popper.
Anything else? Hearing none, Ms. Diagana?
Monica Johnson,
Yes.
Amanda Proctor,
Yes.
Nate Sassano,
Yes.
Amy Musgrave, Michael Will.
Yes. All right. We're almost there. We've almost got bingo.
So close.
One more party popper.
Best for last. Best for last.
We'll move on to our final item of special business, and that is the sale of the old, I think it's a teacherage. It's not necessarily a dormitory, but the old teacherage on the Milliken Middle School site to Front Range Fire and Rescue. Thank you for your patience tonight. Superintendent Nielsen.
President Wales and board members, we should have had not just a popper, but one of those big poppers that they had here, the big.
And we've got fire present, so we could, we could probably go even a little more extreme.
Crazy.
We do have Deputy Chief Gronholm with us this evening, and it is awesome, I think, to be able to say we're gonna get this one across the finish line. As I asked, it's 4.5 or 5 years in the making to hand a building over. But we are excited to formally pass the building off to the fire department and allow for you to actually feel like it's yours instead of pretending. I think we've been doing nice partnership work for a number of years, but we would ask for the board to approve that tonight so that we can say we actually have taken it across the finish line.
Well, should we ask Dr. Krill if her teachers moving into the intermediate school want that as dorm? She's like, they're good.
We can ask Deputy Chief what it looks like in there now.
Nobody wants to live in this. Our mannequins don't even.
I know I've told you guys this before, but I'm here just to put on the record. So when I was in 5th grade, the art teacher at Milliken Middle School retired that year. So when I came into Milliken, that was her first year of retirement. But she was the last teacher in the district who still lived in that teacherage at the time. So she taught at the building and lived in that structure. So it's crazy times.
End of a legacy.
Yeah.
That was in the mid-'80s, is that?
Yeah. Would have been like 83 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it has been not a dormitory since.
For a long time. Yeah.
What's very interesting is that kind of thought process of providing housing has kind of boomeranged back around, right? It's becoming very common to that. So it's interesting. I mean, no one wants, we don't want this, Front Range can have it, but it's an interesting concept that it's boomerang backing around. So who knows whether maybe one day we'll have one, who knows?
Yeah.
But we don't need this one.
So I just want to make sure it says sell. Really, it's they're paying $10. We're handing it back to them, right?
It's got a $10 bill in his pocket, I bet.
I just want to make sure because we're not really selling it to.
It's a sale.
You have to have economic value.
But, right. I'm just putting it out there that we're not asking you to provide us funds.
You have to provide this at $10.
Okay, any other discussions, questions, comments? I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to sell the old dormitory on the Milliken Middle School site to Front Range Fire as presented.
Second.
You guys are just working hard tonight over there.
Cranking it out.
We got a motion by Director Proctor, a second by Director Johnson to approve the sale of the old dormitory on the Milliken Middle School site to Front Range Fire and Rescue. Any further discussion? Hearing Ms. Diagana.
Monica Johnson,
Yes.
Amanda Proctor,
Yes.
Nate Sisano,
Yes.
Amy Musgrave, yes, Michael Witt.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you for waiting.
It'll be yours in 21 days. How long it takes.
Move all the mannequins in.
Is that the 21 days right of refusal? Is that what that is?
It's just
Yeah.
No go backsies.
Don't say those words.
yeah, no backs.
Thank you, Chief. We don't have any new business. Do we have any citizen comments on general topics? Any other items deemed necessary by the board?
Just one thing, and I don't want to keep this going too long, but I do think we should move on the student board member.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know if we can take official action tonight, but I think we should get that process rolling, mostly because I want to get a junior in that position now so we can have that, whoever it is, in their seat next year as a senior.
I don't believe you need to take official action to post an application. I think you take official action when you're ready to bring one on.
Yeah.
But I think if I hear enough energy to do it, I think we ought to. What I shared with them last week was when the board is ready, push out applications through Mr. Benson. And so if the board is ready to see who's interested, I'll go ahead and push that out.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up. I meant to say something after your celebrations because I more than anything, well, not more than anything, but as part of that, I'd like to see, and I think we do have some students who are going to go to CASB with us to do the student leadership track, but it'd be great if we had somebody who was kind of thinking in that term of being that student school board member. So just, I don't know that they might be able to get a little bit more out of that session than just doing student leadership. So
I guess our plan then would be, I think, to bring on one junior and not a senior, not two students this year.
We can go with wherever you want.
Right.
I don't know that we hurt anybody if we ask a senior to apply and we have a senior that gets trained with the junior. Because the senior is able to put on their whatever they're doing after us,
right,
that they were part of the school board, which I think is just like work experience they have anywhere else. This is going to be a powerful thing for students to leverage if they're interested. So I recommend a junior and a senior.
Yeah.
If we start that rotation now.
yeah, I say if the interest is there, absolutely.
All right, I will keep Michael and Nate as we prep for board meetings. I'll keep you posted. We'll put it out there for students in a couple weeks, maybe 3, and be ready to go at second board meeting in October. Just some time to get it in front of them.
Okay.
All right?
Sounds good. All right, guys, thank you. We'll go ahead and adjourn at 7:56. Appreciate it.
Give me 1 moment to get us off the waves or whatever those are called.